Story 1. The Exit That Follows. The exit sign for Millbrook Road appeared in my headlights at mile marker 213, and I passed it doing 70. 3 miles later, it appeared again. Same sign, same exit, same mile marker 213. I've passed it 47 times now, each time driving farther down I-90. Each time watching my odometer climb while the mile markers reset, and the exit keeps following me like something hungry that won't stop until I finally take it. My name is Catherine Moore, 38 years old, 11 years driving commercial routes through the Northeast. I was running Boston to Buffalo standard overnight haul March 9th, 2024. Left Boston at 9 p.m., expected arrival Buffalo 5 a.m. Easy run, highway the whole way, nothing complicated. The Millbrook Road exit wasn't on my GPS. I noticed that the first time I passed it, no advance warning, no route recalculation, just a standard green exit sign appearing suddenly in my high beams at mile marker 213. The sign looked old, faded, the reflective paint worn down to bare metal in spots. Nothing unusual about that. Plenty of rural exits lead nowhere important. I was driving a Freightliner Cascadia, empty trailer returning from a delivery. Light load, good speed. Passed the exit without thinking about it. Checked my mirrors, standard procedure. The exit receded behind me, disappearing into darkness. Mile marker 214 passed. Then 215, then 216, then 213. I actually laughed when I saw it. Must have misread the first one, I thought. Not possible to go backward on an interstate. Mile markers increment east, decrement west. I was heading west. They should be counting down, but irregularly. 213, 212, 211, not repeating. But there it was, 213, and right after it, the Millbrook Road exit sign, identical to the one I'd passed 3 miles back. I checked my GPS. It showed me at mile marker 216, 3 miles past where the sign indicated. My odometer confirmed I'd traveled those miles. But the markers outside said different. Probably vandalism, I decided. Someone stealing mile markers, replacing them in wrong positions. It happens. Bored kids, copper thieves, whatever. I kept driving. Mile marker 214, then 215, then 216, then 213, the Millbrook Road exit sign. Again, third time. My hands tightened on the wheel. This wasn't vandalism. This was something else. I grabbed my CB radio, keyed it. Breaker 19, this is Moore on I-90 westbound. Anyone else experiencing weird mile marker issues, come back. Static, pure static, no underlying chatter. I-90 through Massachusetts was never empty. There should be other truckers, other voices. I switched channels, tried again, same static. My phone showed no signal, not unusual in rural stretches, but I'd had signal 10 minutes ago. Mile marker 217, then 218, then 219, relief washed through me. Finally progressing normally, whatever glitch I'd experienced was over. Then 213, the Millbrook Road, exit sign, fourth time. I was driving in a loop, not a physical loop. The road was straight, no curves, no turnoffs I'd accidentally taken, but somehow every 6 miles I returned to mile marker 213. The exit kept reappearing. I slowed down, 60 miles per hour, 50, 40. Watching the markers carefully now. 214, 215, 216, 217. The road ahead flickered, not like a power outage, like reality stuttering. For a fraction of a second, I saw the road overlaid with itself, 2 versions occupying the same space. Then it settled, and there it was. Mile marker 213, the Millbrook Road exit sign. I pulled onto the shoulder, heart hammering. Put the truck in park. This wasn't happening. Couldn't be happening. I'd driven this route 100 times. I-90 was one of the major transcontinental highways. It didn't loop. It didn't glitch. I got out, flashlight in hand. Walked back to the mile marker, examined it. Standard DOT marker, properly installed, weathered but intact. The number 213 was clearly visible, no tampering. I walked to the exit sign. It was real, metal post, reflective green sign, white letters. Millbrook Road, with an arrow pointing to the off-ramp. I'd never heard of Millbrook Road. No town named Millbrook in this area according to my atlas. My truck's headlights were still on, illuminating the highway behind me. Empty road, no other vehicles. But as I watched, headlights appeared in the distance, coming toward me from the east, moving fast. As it got closer, I recognized it. Freightliner Cascadia. Same model as mine, same company colors, same license plate. It was my truck, driving itself, or driven by someone I couldn't see. It passed me, past my parked truck, and continued west. I watched its taillights disappear into the darkness. Then I heard an engine behind me, turned around. My truck was still there, parked on the shoulder right where I'd left it, but another truck was approaching from the east. Same Freightliner, same everything. It passed, continued west, disappeared. Another set of headlights appeared. Another identical truck, passed me, disappeared. They were coming every 30 seconds now. An endless convoy of my truck, all driving west, all passing mile marker 213, all continuing into whatever loop I'd fallen into. And then I saw her, in one of the trucks, myself. Catherine Moore, visible through the driver's window, hands on the wheel, eyes forward, not seeing me, standing on the shoulder. That version of me drove past and vanished into the night. The next truck, another me, and the next, and the next. I was watching iterations of myself, all trapped in the same loop, all passing the same mile marker, all unaware that they were repeating. I ran back to my truck, the one I'd been driving, the one I'd parked. Climbed in, locked the doors, started the engine. I had to get out of here, had to break the loop. I accelerated hard, 75 miles per hour. Watched. The mile markers blur past. 214, 215, 216, 217, 218, 219, 220. I was breaking through. Escaping the loop. Mile marker 221, 222, 223. Then the road flickered again. That same stutter in reality. And I was back at 213, the Millbrook Road exit sign. I screamed, actually screamed, raw and terrified, slammed my fists on the steering wheel. This was impossible. I'd driven past 223. I'd escaped, but the road had reset, pulled me back. The CB radio crackled, not static this time. A voice. My voice. Take the exit. Who is this? I demanded. Take the exit, Catherine. It's the only way out. Out of what? What is this? The loop, the recursion. You're stuck in a closed time-like curve. The highway is folding back on itself. Every 6 miles you return to the start. You'll keep driving forever unless you exit. What's at Millbrook Road? Silence. Then, the choice you didn't make. I looked at the exit ramp. It curved away into darkness, disappearing behind trees, no lights visible, no indication of what lay beyond. I'm not taking an unknown exit in the middle of nowhere, I said. Then you'll loop forever, my voice replied. How many times have you passed this exit already? 50, 100? How many versions of you are trapped here, driving the same 6 miles for eternity? I thought about the convoy of trucks, the iterations of myself. How long had this been happening? How many loops had I completed before I even noticed? What happens if I take the exit? You find out what happens when you make the choice you avoided. I don't know what that means. Yes, you do. 3 years ago, the exit you didn't take, the turn you didn't make, the decision you drove past because it was easier to keep going straight. 3 years ago, March 2021. I'd been driving this same route when I got the call. My sister dying in a hospital in Albany. She wanted to see me. The hospital was 30 miles off my route. I'd have missed my delivery window, gotten written up, maybe lost the contract. I didn't go. Told myself I'd visit after the delivery. But after turned into later, and later turned into never, and 3 weeks after that call, my sister died. I never saw her again. The exit I didn't take was in Albany, and I'd been avoiding that route ever since. "Millbrook Road leads to the hospital," my voice said. "The one you didn't go to. This is your recursion, Catherine. You've been driving past that exit for 3 years, over and over, trapped in the moment of choosing. And now the choice has become literal. Take the exit or loop forever. She's already dead. 3 years dead. Taking the exit now won't change anything. It's not about changing the past. It's about facing it. You've been running a loop in your mind since she died. Guilt, regret, the decision replaying endlessly. This highway is just making it physical. Take the exit, face what you avoided." I looked at the exit sign, Millbrook Road. It hadn't existed 3 years ago. It didn't exist now, not on any map. It was a phantom exit, a manifestation of the choice I'd denied. Behind me, headlights appeared. Another iteration of my truck, about to pass, about to continue the loop. I made the decision. I took the exit. The off-ramp curved right, descending into darkness. My headlights illuminated trees, overgrown brush, a road that looked like it hadn't been maintained in decades. But I kept driving, following the phantom road wherever it led. The trees opened up. I emerged into a parking lot, empty except for one building, a hospital. Old 1970s architecture, most windows dark, but lights were on in a few rooms on the 3rd floor. I parked, got out. The air was wrong, too still, too quiet. No wind, no insects, no ambient sound at all. The hospital entrance was unlocked. I pushed through, found myself in a lobby frozen in time. Magazines from March 2021 on the waiting room tables. A clock on the wall stuck at 3:47 p.m., the time my sister had called. I took the elevator to the 3rd floor. The doors opened onto a hallway with one room lit, 307, my sister's room number. I walked slowly, every step an effort. Reached the door. It was open, she was inside. My sister, Emily, lying in the hospital bed exactly as she would have been 3 years ago. Eyes closed, breathing shallow, monitors beeping softly. But this wasn't my sister. Not really. This was the memory, the moment the choice crystallized. I sat in the chair next to the bed, took her hand. It was warm, real, solid. "I'm sorry," I whispered. "I should have come. I should have been here." Her eyes opened, focused on me. "You're here now. It's too late. It's always too late. That's the point. You can't fix it. You can only accept it." She squeezed my hand weakly. "I forgave you years ago, Kath. Before I died, I understood, but you never forgave yourself. That's why you're stuck. I don't know how to stop being stuck. You stop running. You stop looping. You accept that you made a choice. It was the wrong choice, and you can't undo it. Then you keep driving, not in circles. Forward." The monitors flatlined, the long, steady tone of death. Emily's hand went limp in mine. I sat there crying, finally grieving properly, finally letting myself feel the loss I'd been circling around for 3 years. When I looked up, the hospital room was empty. No bed, no equipment, just a bare room with dusty floors and windows showing night sky. I walked out, down the hallway, into the elevator, through the lobby, out to the parking lot. My truck was there. I got in, started the engine, drove out of the phantom parking lot back onto the off-ramp. Except now it was an on-ramp, leading back to I-90. I merged onto the highway. Mile marker 214 appeared, in my headlights. Then 215, then 216, then 217, no reset, no loop. The markers continued counting down normally. My GPS reconnected, phone signal returned. CB radio crackled with trucker chatter. I was out, but I still remember the loop, the exit that followed me. The choice made physical. And now, whenever I drive I-90, when I pass the spot where mile marker 213 should be, where the Millbrook Road exit appeared, I slow down slightly, just for a moment, acknowledging what happened there. The marker shows 213 like it always has. No phantom exit, no recursion. But sometimes in my peripheral vision I see it. The green sign, Millbrook Road. Still there for someone else. Some other driver trapped in their own loop, circling their own regret, waiting to take the exit they've been avoiding. The highway remembers our choices, and sometimes it makes us face them, whether we're ready or not. Story 2, the voice on the phone. My phone rang at 2:34 a.m. with a call from myself, and when I answered, my own voice said I had 11 minutes to stop what I was about to do, or I'd kill 17 people. The caller ID showed my number. The voice was mine. Exact inflection, same slight lisp on sibilance, identical cadence. And it was terrified in a way I'd never heard myself sound before. My name is Derek Paulson, 54 years old, 29 years driving trucks, running chemicals and industrial supplies across the Midwest. February 14th, 2024, I was on Route 52 through Minnesota, hauling industrial solvents to a manufacturing plant in Duluth. Standard load, proper hazmat certification, refrigerated trailer maintaining, 10 degree, everything by the book. The call came while I was driving through empty farmland. No other vehicles visible, just flat darkness and the white line disappearing under my wheels. "Derek, listen to me carefully," my voice said. "In 11 minutes, you're going to see a dog run onto the highway. You're going to swerve to avoid it. You're going to lose control. The trailer will jackknife. The solvents will rupture. The chemical reaction will cause an explosion. A van with a family is 3 miles behind you. The explosion will engulf them. 17 people total will die. The family, 3 people in a car behind them, and yourself." I nearly dropped the phone. "What the fuck is this?" "It's you. From 11 minutes ahead, I'm calling to warn you. The phone system, something about the explosion, it creates a temporal feedback loop. It lets me call backward. You have to listen. When you see the dog, don't swerve. Hit it. I know that sounds terrible, but if you swerve, everyone dies. This is a prank. Someone spoofing my number. Your wife's name is Angela. Your daughter is Melissa, living in Portland. You have a scar on your right calf from a forklift accident in 2009. Your truck number is TL447. Your cargo is 17,000 gallons of industrial solvents, primarily toluene and acetone, DOT Class 3 flammables. You're on Route 52, mile marker 187. Am I pranking you?" Every detail was correct. Information a stranger couldn't know. "If this is real, if you're calling from the future, why don't you remember this call?" I asked. "Why didn't past you get this warning?" "I don't know. Maybe I did and I didn't believe it. Maybe the loop is new. Maybe every version of me calls and every version of you doesn't listen. I'm begging you, Derek, don't swerve for the dog. 10 minutes now, please." The call ended. Dead air. I stared at my phone. The call log showed the incoming call from my own number, duration 43 seconds. I tried calling back. It rang once, then I heard my own voice. "This is Derek, leave a message." My voicemail. I'd called myself and reached my own voicemail. 9 minutes. If the call was real, I had 9 minutes until a dog appeared. 9 minutes to decide if I believed an impossible phone call. I slowed down. 60 to 55, trying to buy time, trying to think. What were the options? Option 1. The call was a hoax. Sophisticated, creepy, but fake. I'd drive normally, no dog would appear, nothing would happen. Option 2. The call was real. Time travel via phone, impossible physics, but real. In which case, a dog would appear and I'd face a choice. Swerve and kill 17 people, or hit the dog and save them. I checked my mirrors. Empty road behind me, no van with a family. But they were 3 miles back, the voice had said. 3 miles at highway speeds is less than 3 minutes. They could appear any moment. 8 minutes. My hands were sweating on the wheel. I'd never hit an animal on purpose. avoided them reflexively, deer, dogs, raccoons, whatever. It was instinct. How do you override instinct? The phone rang again. Same caller ID, myself. 7 minutes, my voice said. I'm watching it happen. I'm in the ambulance. What's left of me? Burns over 60% of my body. I can see the van burning. I can hear the screaming. Derek, you have to believe me. If I hit the dog, do I survive? Yes. Truck stays stable. No jackknife, no explosion. You'll feel terrible, but you'll live. We'll live, please. How is this possible? How are you calling? The explosion creates some kind of electromagnetic anomaly. The phone system glitches. I discovered I could dial backward. Only 11 minutes, only once. This is my only chance to stop it. Our only chance. 6 minutes. You'll see the dog on the right shoulder. It'll run into the road chasing something. A rabbit, I think. When you see it, don't react. Let the truck hit it. I can't. You have to. 17 people, Derek. 17 lives, 1 dog. Do the math. The call ended again. 5 minutes, maybe, if any of this was real. I saw headlights behind me now. Distant but coming. A vehicle, maybe 2 miles back. Could be the van. Could be anyone. 4 minutes. I thought about calling Angela, telling her what was happening. But what would I say? I'm getting calls from myself warning about the future. She'd think I was having a breakdown. 3 minutes. The road ahead was empty. Dark fields on both sides. No houses, no lights. Just the endless 2-lane highway cutting through Minnesota farmland. 2 minutes. I saw movement on the right shoulder. An animal, large, canine. A dog trotting along the roadside. My heart rate spiked. It was real. The call had been real. The dog was keeping pace with my truck running on the shoulder. I could see it clearly in my headlights. German Shepherd, no collar, moving fast. 1 minute. Then I saw the rabbit, small, darting across the shoulder. The dog saw it too, changed direction, started chasing, heading for the road, heading directly into my path. Everything slowed down. I saw the trajectory, saw where the dog would be in 3 seconds, saw my split-second window to react. Every instinct screamed, swerve. But I heard my own voice, don't swerve, 17 people. The dog entered the road. I didn't move the wheel, the impact was sickening. A heavy thump, a yelp cut short. I felt it through the chassis, saw the body tumble in my mirrors. I'd killed it, directly, deliberately killed it. But the truck stayed stable, no swerve, no jackknife. Just the straight highway and my hands locked on the wheel. In my mirrors, the vehicle behind me came into view. A van, large passenger van. I could see faces in the windows, children. The van passed the dog's body, continued on, past me, kept driving, disappeared ahead into the night. They were alive, all of them, still alive because I'd hit the dog instead of swerving. My phone rang. Same caller ID, myself. You did it, my voice said, but different now, not terrified, relieved, exhausted. You actually did it. I'm here in the truck, 11 minutes ahead, no explosion, no fire. I'm alive. We're alive. Thank you. Is this going to keep happening? I asked. Am I going to keep getting calls from myself? I don't know. This is the first time. Maybe it's a closed loop. You got the call, you changed the outcome, now the future where I called from doesn't exist anymore. Paradox. Or maybe it'll keep happening. Maybe every time something terrible is about to occur, we'll get a warning. I don't know how this works. I killed that dog. I know. I remember, it's horrible. But you saved 17 people, you saved us. That has to count for something. The call ended. I pulled over at the next rest stop, hands shaking too badly to drive safely. Sat in the parking lot for an hour trying to process what had happened. Time travel via phone. Future me calling past me. An impossible warning that turned out to be true. I completed the delivery in Duluth, unloaded the solvents without incident. Drove home, Told Angela I'd had a long night but was fine. I didn't tell her about the calls, how could I? But it kept happening. Not every trip, not even every month. But occasionally my phone would ring with calls from myself. Always 11 minutes ahead, always warning about something. March 23rd, tire blowout on I-35. Future me told me which tire, told me to pull over in the next 2 miles and check it. I did. Found a nail embedded in the tread ready to blow at highway speed. May 7th, medical emergency. Future me warned that I was about to have a heart attack. Told me to pull over immediately, chew aspirin, call 911. I did. Paramedics arrived in time. Doctors said another 10 minutes and I'd have died. August 14th, cargo problem. Future me warned that the load had shifted, straps were failing. I pulled over, rebalanced everything, prevented a catastrophic loss of load on a mountain grade. Each time the call came exactly 11 minutes before the event. Each time my future self had experienced the disaster and found a way to call backward and prevent it. I started to rely on it. Started to trust that if something terrible was coming, I'd get a warning. But then came the call that I didn't understand. November 9th, 2024. I was driving through Iowa, empty trailer returning from a delivery. Phone rang at 4:17 p.m., caller ID. Myself. Derek, don't answer the next call. What call? I asked. The one that's coming in 9 minutes at 4:26 p.m. A number you don't recognize. Don't answer it. Let it go to voicemail. Don't listen to the voicemail. Delete it without listening. Why? What happens if I answer? I can't explain. If I tell you it affects your decision, you have to trust me. Do not answer the 4:26 call. That doesn't make sense every other time you explain the danger. This is different. This isn't about an accident or a medical emergency. This is about information. There's something you don't want to know. Something that will ruin everything. If you answer that call, if you get that information, your life falls apart. Trust me, I'm living in the aftermath. Don't answer. What information? I can't tell you. That's the point. Just, please, Derek, don't answer. The call ended. I checked the clock. 4:18 p.m. 8 minutes until the mysterious call. This was different from the other warnings. Those had been clear. Avoid the blowout, prevent the heart attack, fix the cargo, but this? Don't answer a call? Don't learn something? What information could be so terrible that learning it would ruin my life? 6 minutes. I thought about possibilities. An affair, Angela cheating, Melissa in trouble, financial problems, medical diagnosis. 4 minutes. Or maybe this was a test. Maybe future me was lying. Maybe I was supposed to answer. Maybe the real disaster was not answering. 2 minutes. My phone was in my hand. Screen blank. Waiting. 1 minute. 4:26 p.m. The phone rang. Unknown number. Local area code, but not one I recognized. Future me had said don't answer. Had begged me not to answer. But I'd trusted the calls so far. They'd saved my life multiple times. Why would future me lie? Unless future me wasn't trying to protect me. Unless future me was trying to protect himself, to prevent me from learning something that he wished he didn't know. The phone rang. Second ring. Third ring. I answered. Is this Derek Paulson? A woman's voice. Official, businesslike. Yes. Mr. Paulson, this is Detective Sarah Chen with the Portland Police Department. I'm calling about your daughter, Melissa Paulson. My blood went cold. Is she okay? Mr. Paulson, I need to inform you that Melissa has been arrested. She's being charged with embezzlement and fraud. The investigation has been ongoing for 6 months. We've recovered evidence that suggests she's stolen approximately $300,000 from her employer. I'm calling to inform you and to ask if you have any knowledge of her financial activities. The world tilted. Melissa, my daughter, arrested, embezzlement. There must be a mistake, I said. Melissa wouldn't. The evidence is substantial, Mr. Paulson. I'm sorry. We'll need you to come to Portland for questioning. You're not a suspect, but we need to rule out any family involvement. The call continued. Details, procedures. But I barely heard it. My mind was stuck on one fact. My daughter was a criminal. When the call ended, my phone rang again immediately. Caller ID. Myself. I told you not to answer, my voice said, bitter, angry. I told you. Now you know. Now we both know. And it destroys us, Derek. It destroys our relationship with Melissa. It destroys our marriage because Angela blames us for not seeing the signs. It destroys everything. I was living in blissful ignorance 11 minutes ago. I wish I still was. She's our daughter. We have to help her. Help her. She doesn't want help. She's angry, we found out. She cuts us off. We don't speak to her for 2 years. Angela falls into depression. We nearly divorce. All because you answered that call. I had to know. Did you? Did you really? What are you going to do with this knowledge? Fix it. You can't. It's already done. The crime is committed. The evidence exists. The arrest is happening. All you've done is brought that misery into our present instead of dealing with it when forced to. I tried to protect us. I tried to give us 11 more minutes of peace, but you couldn't leave it alone. The call ended. I sat on the side of the road in Iowa holding my phone, knowing something I wished I didn't know. Future me had been right. Some information doesn't help. Some knowledge only brings pain. The calls still come. My phone still rings with warnings from 11 minutes ahead. But now I hesitate. Now I wonder. Am I being warned about dangers I should avoid? Or am I being warned about knowledge I shouldn't have? How do you tell the difference between information that saves you and information that ruins you? I don't know. All I know is my phone rings, I see my own number, and I have to decide, answer or ignore. Each call is a gamble. Each call might save my life or destroy it. And I won't know which until 11 minutes later, when it's already too late. Story 3. The station. The gas station appeared at exactly the moment my fuel gauge hit empty, which should have been my first warning, but I was too relieved to question it. I pulled in, filled up at a pump that didn't require payment, and when I tried to leave 20 minutes later, I discovered the station's exit led back to its entrance. I've been circling the lot for 3 hours now, burning through the fuel I just added, and I can see other drivers trapped in their vehicles, some of them covered in dust like they've been here for years. My name is Ahmad Hassan, 41 years old, 8 years driving trucks professionally. I specialized in overnight routes through the Southwest, Arizona, Nevada, New Mexico. Preferred the empty highways, the solitude, the endless dark. May 18th, 2024, I was running I-40 through Arizona, hauling electronics from Phoenix to Albuquerque. I'd miscalculated my fuel. Rookie mistake, but I'd been fighting fatigue, lost track of the miles. By the time I noticed the gauge needle dropping into red, I was in a stretch with no services for 70 miles. The next town was 43 miles ahead. I wasn't going to make it. The low fuel warning light came on. 5 gallons remaining. Maybe 30 miles of range. I was going to end up stranded on I-40 in the middle of the night, waiting for a tow truck that would take hours. Then I saw it. A gas station right off the highway just appeared in my headlights. Not gradually visible from a distance, but suddenly there, like someone had turned on its lights specifically for me. The sign read, Desert Star Fuel, 24 hours, all grades available. The parking lot was empty, no other vehicles, no attendant visible in the convenience store windows. But the lights were on, the pumps were lit, and the prices displayed were absurdly low, $1.87 per gallon. Gas hadn't been that cheap in 20 years. I should have kept driving. Should have recognized the wrongness. But I was running on fumes in desperation. I pulled in. The pump was old, ancient actually, mechanical dials instead of digital displays, but it worked. I swiped my card. The reader blinked. Error. I tried again. Same result. Then I noticed the sign. No payment required. Fuel first. Pay inside. Strange but convenient. I started pumping. The mechanical dials spun, counting gallons and dollars. The fuel flowed normally. Nothing unusual except the price and the honor system payment. I filled my tank. 63 gallons. The dial showed 118.81. I went inside to pay. The convenience store was like a time capsule. Products from decades ago, brands that didn't exist anymore, packaged in designs from the 80s and 90s. The magazines were yellowed, dates ranging from 1987 to 2004. The candy bars were brands I remembered from childhood. No one was at the counter. I called out, "Hello? Anyone here?" Silence. But the lights were on. The coffee maker was running, fresh pot brewing. The cash register was open, showing bills inside. I left cash on the counter, $120, close enough to cover the fuel. Started to leave. That's when I saw the other vehicles. They'd been there the whole time, I just hadn't noticed. Parked around the back of the building, shadowed. 6 cars, 3 trucks, 2 motorcycles. All dusty, windows dirty, some with flat tires. They looked abandoned, but they weren't empty. In one car, a 1990s sedan, someone was sitting in the driver's seat. A man slumped forward against the steering wheel, not moving. I approached, tapped on the window. "Hey, you okay?" No response. I tried the door. Unlocked. Opened it. The man was dead. Had been dead for a long time. Mummified, skin dried and leathery. He was wearing clothes from the 90s, Nirvana t-shirt, flannel jacket. His hands were still on the wheel. I backed away, heart racing, checked another vehicle, another body. This one more recent, decay hadn't fully completed. A woman, maybe dead for months. All the vehicles had bodies. All the drivers dead, still sitting in their vehicles as if they'd just pulled over for a rest and never woken up. I ran back to my truck, fumbling for my phone. No signal. Of course, no signal. I started the engine, threw it in drive, headed for the exit. The exit ramp curved around, leading back onto I-40. I followed it. The road curved left, then right, then I was back in the gas station parking lot, entering from the entrance. I hit the brakes. What the fuck? I'd followed the exit. It had clearly led to the highway, but somehow I'd looped back to the entrance. I tried again, slower this time, watching carefully. The exit ramp curved around the building, and there was a moment, just a second, where everything felt wrong, where space seemed to twist. And then I was coming in the entrance again. The station's exit led to its entrance. A physical loop, impossible topology. I tried the entrance in reverse. Backed up, trying to leave the way I'd come in. Same result. After a few hundred feet, I'd find myself entering forward again. I was trapped. The gas station was a closed system. You could enter but not leave. My phone rang. No caller ID. I answered. "You're new?" A man's voice, tired, raspy. "Just got here? Who is this?" "Name's Carl. I'm in the Dodge truck, east side of the lot. Been here since 2003. 21 years. "Welcome to the Desert Star. You're not leaving." I looked across the lot. The Dodge truck, one of the dusty vehicles. Someone was sitting inside, illuminated by interior light. He waved. "There's a dead body in half these cars," I said. "Yeah, those are the ones who ran out of fuel trying to escape. The station gives you 1 free tank. After that, you pay with years. 1 gallon, 1 year of your life. Most people burn through their free tank trying to find a way out, then they're stuck. No fuel, no escape. They just sit and wait to die. That's insane. That's the Desert Star. It's a trap, a lure for drivers running low on fuel. It appears exactly when you're desperate, offers free gas, then keeps you forever. The fuel you got? That's your lifeline. Use it wisely. There has to be a way out. Been trying for 21 years, friend. There's not. The station exists in a pocket. The exit loops back to the entrance. You can drive in circles forever, but you'll never reach I-40. Then how do you have power? How is the coffee fresh? The station sustains itself. It's alive in a way. Needs drivers, needs fuel. We're the fuel, Ahmad, our life force. As long as we're here, the station exists. When we die, our energy gets absorbed. That's how it feeds. How do you know my name? It knows. The station knows everything about everyone trapped here. And it tells us. Helps us get acquainted. We're family now, permanent residents of the Desert Star. I looked at my fuel gauge. Still full. I just added 63 gallons. How long would that last if I kept trying to escape? I did the math. My truck got 6 miles per gallon. 63 gallons was 378 miles of driving. If I kept circling the station, each loop was maybe a quarter mile, I could drive for over 1,500 loops before running dry. Or I could conserve fuel, park, wait, hope someone found me. But Carl had been waiting 21 years. No one had found him. What if I just walk away? I asked. Leave the truck, walk out. Tried that. You'll walk for hours, days. The desert around the station goes on forever. No landmarks, no roads, just sand and scrub. Eventually you turn around and the station is right there. You always come back. I sat in my truck, engine running, trying to think. There had to be an explanation, a rational explanation. Hallucination, carbon monoxide poisoning, psychological breakdown. But the station was real. The fuel in my tank was real. Carl was real. I could see him in his truck, phone to his ear, talking to me. How many of us are here? I asked. Alive? Including you, 4. Me, you, a woman named Teresa in the Honda, and a kid, maybe 25 in the Camry. The rest are dead. Fuel ran out or they gave up. Teresa's been here 9 years. The kid 6 months. Why are you still alive after 21 years? I don't drive. Haven't started my truck in 20 years. Just sit here. Eat the food from the store, it replenishes. Drink the water, sleep, exist. It's not living, but it's not dying. I'm in stasis. The station wants us alive as long as possible. More energy that way. This can't be real. You'll accept it eventually. Stages of grief, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. Most people cycle through in a few days. You'll get there. I hung up. Started driving. Not circling. Straight in one direction, crashing through the decorative bushes at the edge of the lot out into the desert. The truck bounced over rough terrain. Headlights showed empty desert. I drove for 10 minutes watching the odometer climb. 2 miles, 3 miles, 4 miles. I looked back. The gas station was still visible, same distance away, not receding. I drove 5 more minutes. 7 miles total. Looked back. Station still the same distance. Like it was tethered to me, like I was driving on a treadmill. I turned around. Drove back. The station approached normally. I was back in the parking lot in minutes. 7 miles of fuel burned. 370 remaining. I parked. Turned off the engine. Sat in silence. Carl was right. I was trapped. The math was simple. Keep trying to escape and run out of fuel in days, or conserve fuel and exist in limbo indefinitely. Over the next 3 days, I tried everything. Drove in patterns, trying to find weak points in the spatial loop. Walked into the desert with GPS and compass, attempting to navigate out. Called 911 repeatedly, hoping for a moment of signal. Nothing worked. On day 4, I met Teresa and the kid. We gathered in the convenience store, the only social activity available. They'd both stopped trying to escape. They were existing, surviving, waiting for nothing. Sometimes people just appear outside, Teresa said, driving past on I-40. We can see them from here. They can't see us. We wave, scream, run toward the highway. But there's a barrier, invisible wall. We can't cross it. How often do people appear? I asked. Few times a month. The highway's out there, close but unreachable. What about new arrivals, other drivers falling into the trap? You're the first in 6 months. Station doesn't need many. 4 alive is enough to sustain it. When one of us dies, it'll lure another. I've been here 11 days now. I've stopped circling the lot, stopped burning fuel. My gauge still shows full. I've barely used any since that first failed escape attempt. I'm existing, eating strange food that never spoils, drinking water that replenishes, sleeping in my cab, talking to Carl, Teresa, the kid, and watching the highway. Sometimes I see vehicles pass, trucks like mine, drivers who don't know how close they are to a trap, who don't know that one moment of desperation, one gamble on a too-good station, could end their life on the road permanently. I've started keeping a journal, writing down everything, names of the dead in the other vehicles, details about the station. Maybe someday someone will find it. Maybe there's a way out and I just haven't discovered it yet. Or maybe this is just how it ends for some drivers. Not in an accident, not from illness, but trapped in an impossible place. A pocket of space that shouldn't exist. A predatory rest stop that feeds on desperation. My fuel gauge still shows full. Carl hasn't started his truck in 21 years. Teresa gave up 9 years ago. I have a choice. Try to escape and risk running dry, or accept my new reality. I don't know what I'll choose, but I know the Desert Star is patient. It has all the time in the world, and now, so do I. Story 4. The Manifest. The cargo manifest listed 23 pallets of office furniture, but when I opened the trailer at the delivery point, there were 24, and the extra pallet had my name written on every box. Inside each box was an item from my apartment, clothes I'd worn yesterday, food from my fridge with my bite marks in it, a framed photo of my parents that was currently sitting on my nightstand 2,000 miles away. Someone had duplicated my entire life and shipped it to me. My name is Yuki Tanaka, 33 years old, 6 years in trucking. I ran specialized routes for high-end office furniture. Corporate installations, executive offices, that kind of thing. Good pay, careful handling required, professional clientele. June 4th, 2024, I picked up a load in Los Angeles, destination Chicago. Standard corporate delivery, routine job. The manifest was clear, 23 pallets, total weight 1,800 pounds, contents itemized. I'd watched the warehouse crew load them, counted them myself. 23 pallets, signed the manifest, locked the trailer. It was a 4-day drive with required rest stops. I'd done this route dozens of times. Chicago delivery was scheduled for June 8th, 7 a.m. at a new office building in the Loop. The drive was uneventful. I-40 to I-44 to I-55, weather good, traffic normal. I slept at truck stops, ate at diners, maintained my logbook properly. Everything routine. I arrived at the Chicago delivery point on schedule, backed up to the loading dock. The receiving manager came out to check me in. Yuki Tanaka, Thermalane Logistics, delivery from LA? That's me. Great, we've been waiting for this furniture. Let's get you unloaded. I opened the trailer doors. 24 pallets. I counted again. Definitely 24. But there should have been 23. Had I miscounted in LA? I pulled out my manifest. It clearly stated 23. You've got an extra pallet, the manager said. I see that. But I loaded 23 in LA. I counted them. Well, you've got 24 now. Which one's the extra? I walked into the trailer. The pallets all looked identical at first, wrapped in plastic, labeled with destination codes. But one pallet was different. The plastic wrap was a slightly different color. The labels were handwritten, not printed. And every box on that pallet had my name on it. Not the company name, not the delivery address, just Yuki Tanaka. That one's not mine, I said. That's not part of my load. The manager frowned. It's in your trailer. It's your responsibility. I didn't load it. Someone put it in there during the drive. That's impossible. Your trailer was locked, right? It had been locked. I'd checked it at every stop. The seal was intact when I'd arrived. The tamper-proof seal applied by the LA warehouse, serial number matching my paperwork. But there it was, a 24th pallet that shouldn't exist. I need to inspect this, I said. I cut the plastic wrap, opened the top box. Inside, clothes. My clothes. Specifically the jeans and shirt I'd worn yesterday. I'd left them in the laundry hamper at my apartment in LA. Unwashed, I could see the coffee stain from where I'd spilled my morning cup. I opened another box. Food. Leftover pizza from my fridge. The same pizza I'd eaten 2 nights ago. I recognized the missing slices. 3 pieces remained. One had a bite taken out of it. My bite pattern. I could see my dental impressions in the cheese. Third box, personal items, books from my shelf, my laptop. I checked the serial number, it matched, but my laptop was in my apartment. I'd left it on my desk. How was it here? Fourth box, the framed photo of my parents, the one sitting on my nightstand. The glass had a crack in the corner, the same crack that had been there for months. This was the original, not a copy. What the hell is this? I whispered. The manager was looking over my shoulder. Is this your stuff? It's from my apartment, but my apartment is in LA. I left 4 days ago. This stuff was there when I left. So someone packed it and shipped it to you? No. This trailer was loaded with furniture and locked. This pallet shouldn't be here. I opened more boxes, increasingly frantic. Every item was mine. Shoes I'd worn last week, dirty dishes from my sink, mail from my mailbox, my toothbrush still damp. A grocery receipt from the day before I left sitting on my kitchen counter in LA when I'd walked out the door. Someone had gone into my apartment and taken everything, duplicated it, or actually taken it, moved it into my trailer while I was driving. But that was impossible. The trailer had been locked, the seal intact. I called my landlord in LA. Mr. Chen, this is Yuki. Can you check my apartment? Why? Is something wrong? Just please check. I need to know if everything's still there. He grumbled but agreed. Put me on hold. 5 minutes. Later. Yuki, your apartment looks fine. Everything's in place. Can you describe it, specifically? Your furniture's here. Books on the shelf, laptop on the desk, clothes in the closet. Looks like you left it. But those things were also here. In boxes, in my trailer. I asked him to take photos. He sent them. The photos showed my apartment exactly as I'd left it. Laptop on desk, photo on nightstand, pizza in fridge. But those items were also in the boxes, identical, not copies, exact duplicates. Down to the coffee stain, the crack in the glass, the bite mark in the pizza. I'm calling the police, the manager said. This is weird. This is some kind of stalking or harassment. Wait, I said, let me check something. I climbed into my truck cab, looked in my overnight bag. The clothes I'd worn yesterday, the jeans and shirt, were in the bag, dirty, same coffee stain. But they were also in the box. Identical clothes with identical stain. I pulled out my laptop. I'd brought it with me for the trip despite thinking I'd left it home. But it was here, and also in the box. Everything was doubled. Every item existed in 2 places, in my possession and in the boxes. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Yuki Tanaka? A woman's voice. Professional, clinical. Yes? This is Dr. Reeves from the Temporal Research Institute. I'm calling to inform you that you've experienced a localized duplication event. Everything in your proximity has been copied during a quantum fluctuation. You and your cargo passed through an unstable probability field somewhere near Amarillo, Texas. The field duplicated matter at the atomic level. You now exist with 2 versions of your recent history. That's not possible. It is, and it happened. We've been tracking these events. They're rare but documented. You're the 17th case this year. What do I do? Nothing. The duplicate items are real, stable, permanent. They're not going to disappear. You now own 2 of everything. Sell the duplicates, donate them, keep them. It doesn't matter. The duplication is complete and irreversible. This is insane. It's quantum mechanics. The probability field collapsed both outcomes, the state where you had those items in LA and the state where you were carrying them in your trailer. Both states became real simultaneously. You're living in both timelines. What about me? Am I duplicated? Silence. Then, we don't know. Possibly. There may be another Yuki Tanaka in LA living your life, unaware that you're also here. Or the duplication may have only affected inanimate objects. We're still researching. I want answers. Real answers. You'll have to live with uncertainty. Welcome to the quantum age, Yuki. Reality isn't as solid as you thought. She hung up. I stood in the trailer, surrounded by duplicate versions of my life. The manager was staring at me. So, what do we do with this pallet? He asked. I don't know, it's mine, but it's also impossible. We unloaded the 23 pallets of furniture, left the 24th in the trailer. I didn't know what else to do with it. Couldn't deliver it. It had no destination. Couldn't return it. It had no origin point. I drove away with a trailer full of my own life. Over the next week, I tried to investigate. Called the Temporal Research Institute. No such organization existed. Called my landlord again. My apartment was still intact, unchanged. Called my own phone, got my voicemail. But I had my phone, right here. It couldn't be in 2 places, except it was. Quantum mechanics said it could. I started distributing the duplicates, dropped off clothes at thrift stores, sold the laptop online, donated the books, kept the photo of my parents. Now I had 2, one for my truck and one for wherever I'd eventually live. But questions haunted me. Was there another me? Another Yuki Tanaka living in LA, driving trucks, completely unaware that I'd been duplicated? I tried to find out. Drove back to LA on my next run. Went to my apartment building. Mr. Chen confirmed I was paid up on rent, everything normal. Have you seen me around? I asked. Like, recently? You're right here, he said, confused. No, I mean, have you seen me when I'm not here? Another me? He looked concerned. Yuki, are you feeling okay? I left. Drove past my usual haunts. The diner I ate at, the gym I attended, the bar I drank at. Nobody reported seeing me. No duplicate Yuki living my life. But the duplicate items were real. They existed. Someone, or something, had created perfect copies of my possessions and placed them in my trailer during a moment when reality fractured. I still have some of the duplicate items. Clothes I can't throw away because they're mine. Actually mine, stain and all, just duplicated. Books I've read now existing twice. And I keep checking. Keep looking for the other me. The duplicate Yuki who might be out there, driving trucks, living a parallel life, unaware that we're both echoes of some quantum event that split probability into multiple real outcomes. Maybe I'll never find her. Or maybe one day I'll run into myself on the highway. 2 identical trucks. 2 identical drivers. Both convinced we're the original. Both correct. Both impossible. Welcome to the quantum age. Reality isn't as solid as you thought. Story 5. The passenger log. The electronic logging device in my truck tracks hours, location, speed, standard dot requirements. But for the last 6 days, it's been logging a passenger. Name, unknown. Seat, sleeper berth. The device records their weight shifting, registers them as present, even notes their activity status as sleeping. I've checked the sleeper berth 47 times. There's nobody there. But the device insists someone is sleeping 3 feet behind me, and this morning I found the blanket arranged differently than I left it. still warm from body heat that shouldn't exist. My name is Victor Santos, 47 years old, 19 years driving long haul. I ran solo routes exclusively. Didn't team drive, didn't take riders, didn't want company. My Peterbilt 579 was my space, and I kept it that way. January 12, 2024, I picked up a load in Atlanta, headed to Seattle. 6-day run, straight through with required rest stops. The ELD, electronic logging device, was mandatory equipment, federally required. It tracked everything: drive time, rest periods, location via GPS, vehicle diagnostics. Most drivers hated them. Too intrusive, too controlling. But they were the law. Mine had been working fine for 3 years. No glitches, no issues, until day 1 of the Seattle run. I left Atlanta at 6 a.m. By 8 a.m., when I checked my ELD screen, it showed something new. Passenger 1, unknown. Status, present. Location, sleeper berth. I pulled over immediately, checked the sleeper, empty, nothing there. Nobody hiding, no animals, nothing. The ELD had to be malfunctioning. I rebooted it. The passenger entry remained. I called technical support, spent 40 minutes on the phone. They remotely accessed my device, ran diagnostics. Everything checks out, the tech said. No errors, but you're right, it's showing a passenger. Must be a weight sensor issue. The sensor in the sleeper berth is detecting weight that isn't there. Can you disable the passenger tracking? Not without violating DOT regulations. The device has to monitor occupants. If you're carrying passengers illegally, it needs to log that. I'm not carrying anyone. Then ignore it. It's just a sensor glitch. We'll fix it next service appointment. I kept driving. The passenger entry stayed. And over the next few hours it updated. Activity status resting changed to activity status sleeping at 1 p.m. Then activity status awake at 6 p.m. Whatever phantom the ELD was tracking had a schedule. That night, parked at a truck stop in Arkansas, I checked the sleeper again, still empty. But the blanket, I always folded it neatly, corner to corner, was rumpled, like someone had been lying under it. I straightened it carefully, making sure the fold was perfect. Took a photo, went to sleep in the driver's seat, doors locked. At 3 a.m. I woke to a sound, rustling, from the sleeper berth. I turned slowly. In the darkness, I couldn't see anything. I switched on the cab light. The blanket was rumpled again, differently than before, and there was an impression in the mattress, like someone had been lying there. The depression was fresh, the foam slowly re-expanding. I checked the ELD. Passenger 1, unknown. Status, sleeping. Who's there? I said aloud. No response. The cab was silent. I grabbed my flashlight, inspected every corner. Nobody, but the weight sensor in the sleeper was active. According to the ELD logs, the passenger weighed 176 pounds. The sensor was detecting consistent weight, consistent presence. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. Day 2. I drove through Oklahoma into Texas. The ELD continued logging the passenger. Activity statuses updated throughout the day. Resting, sleeping, awake, like a normal person cycling through states. At a rest stop, I asked another trucker to check my sleeper. Tell me if you see anyone in there. He looked. It's empty, man. Do you see any impressions in the mattress? Any disturbances? The blanket's a little messy, but no one's in there. Can you sit in the sleeper for a second? I want to test something. He climbed in, sat down. I checked the ELD. It now showed Passenger 1, unknown. Passenger 2, guest. The device was tracking both, the phantom and the real person. Okay, you can get out, I said. He left. The ELD updated. Passenger 1, unknown. Passenger 2 removed, but Passenger 1 remained. Your electronics are fucked, the other trucker said. Get it serviced. Day 3. New Mexico. The phantom passenger was becoming more active. The ELD showed increased movement, the weight shifting more frequently as if the person was restless, and I started finding other signs. A water bottle I'd left in the cup holder was half empty when I came back from the bathroom. I'd left it full. The radio station changed while I was driving. I'd been on FM 94.3. Suddenly it was AM 880, a talk radio station. I didn't touch the dial. The temperature in the sleeper berth was warmer than the cab. Significantly warmer, like body heat accumulating in an enclosed space. That night, parked in Albuquerque, I set up my phone to record the sleeper while I slept in the driver's seat. Angled it to capture the whole area. At 2:37 a.m. I reviewed the footage, nothing visible. The sleeper berth remained empty throughout the recording. But the blanket moved. By itself, it shifted, pulled down, arranged as if someone was getting comfortable under it. The impression in the mattress deepened, all with no visible cause. I was carrying something invisible, something that registered on weight sensors and left physical traces but couldn't be seen. Day 4, Arizona. I stopped trying to rationalize it. I started talking to it. If you're here, if you're real, give me a sign. The radio clicked on. Country station. A song I recognized. Ghost Riders in the Sky. That's real subtle, I said. The temperature in the sleeper spiked. I checked the climate control. It was set to 68 degrees, but the thermometer on my phone showed 82 degrees in the sleeper. What do you want? I asked. The ELD screen changed. The passenger status updated with new text. Destination, Seattle. It was going where I was going. Or I was taking it there. It had chosen my truck, my route, for a reason. Are you a person, a ghost? What are you? No response. But that night I found writing. On the fogged-up window of the sleeper berth, someone had traced letters. Help. I stared at the word. It was written from the inside as if someone had pressed their finger against the glass from within the sleeper. Help with what? I asked the empty berth. No answer. The word faded as the condensation evaporated. Day 5, California. I was exhausted, paranoid, jumping at every sound. The phantom passenger continued its routine, sleeping, waking, resting. The ELD logged every moment, and I kept finding traces, footprints on the floor of the sleeper, not visible, but I sprinkled talcum powder to test. In the morning there were impressions. Barefoot prints, size 9, lighter than mine. A smell, faint floral, perfume or shampoo. I didn't use anything scented, but the sleeper berth smelled like someone else had been living there, and sounds. At night I heard breathing, slow, steady breathing that wasn't mine. I'd hold my breath to make sure. The other breathing continued. I called a priest. I'm not religious, but I was desperate. Explained the situation. He suggested a blessing, an exorcism. I don't think it's demonic, I said. It's just there, existing, not threatening, just present. Spirits can be trapped, he said. Maybe it needs help moving on. Maybe it's hitchhiking because it can't move on its own. To Seattle? Why Seattle? That's where it needs to be. To finish something, to find someone. You're the vehicle, literally, for its journey. Day 6. I arrived in Seattle. The delivery was scheduled for 10 a.m. at a warehouse in the industrial district. I'd barely slept in 6 days. The phantom passenger's presence had become constant, undeniable. I could feel it now, a weight in the truck, a pressure, a sense of someone else occupying space. I unloaded the cargo. The warehouse crew didn't notice anything unusual. The ELD still showed. Passenger 1, unknown. Status, present. After the delivery, I parked in an empty lot, addressed the sleeper berth directly. We're in Seattle. You wanted to come here. What now? The ELD screen flickered. New text appeared. Thank you. Then the passenger status changed. Status, departed. The weight sensor reset. The sleeper berth temperature normalized. The impression in the mattress slowly faded. It was gone. Whatever it had been, it had left. I checked the berth. The blanket was neatly folded, corner to corner exactly how I always did it. On top was a note, handwritten on a scrap of paper that hadn't been there before. My name was Rebecca Forster. I died in a truck accident in Georgia 6 months ago. My body was recovered, but something of me got stuck. Couldn't move on. Couldn't reach home. Needed to get to Seattle. To my daughter, to say goodbye. You carried me here, thank you, I can rest now. I researched the name. Found an obituary. Rebecca Forster, age 43, died in a truck accident in Georgia, June 2023. Survived by her daughter in Seattle. I'd carried her ghost across the country. The ELD had tracked her the whole way, logging her presence, her weight, her activity. Technology designed to monitor the living had inadvertently documented the dead. I never told anyone. Who would believe me? But I kept the note, and I kept checking the ELD. It's been 4 months since Seattle. The passenger entry hasn't appeared again. My truck is empty, truly empty. But sometimes late at night I smell that floral scent. And I wonder if Rebecca was the only one, or if there are others. Spirits trapped on the highways, looking for a ride home, waiting for a driver with an ELD sensitive enough to register their presence. The electronic logs don't lie. If they say someone's there, someone's there. Even if you can't see them, even if they've been dead for months. The road carries more than cargo, it carries the unfinished. And sometimes you're the one who helps them finish. Story 6. The Way Station. Every way station I passed added weight to my truck without adding cargo, and by the time I reached the 5th station, my empty trailer weighed 89,000 pounds, 44 tons heavier than when I started. The scale operators insisted their equipment was calibrated correctly. My truck was buckling under impossible weight, and when I finally forced open the trailer doors to see what was inside, I found layered realities. Dozens of translucent versions of my trailer stacked inside each other, each one containing ghostly cargo from routes I hadn't driven yet, or had driven in timelines that didn't exist here. My name is Isaiah Wright, 36 years old, 12 years hauling freight. I ran I-95 corridor routes, Boston to Miami and back. Reliable work, steady income, April 22, 2024. I was deadheading north. Empty trailer, no cargo, returning from a Miami delivery to pick up a new load in Baltimore. Way stations are mandatory. Commercial vehicles over 10,000 pounds have to stop when the signs are lit. They check your weight, your logs, your credentials, standard procedure. I'd stopped at thousands of them. The first station was outside Jacksonville. I pulled in, rolled onto the scale. My truck weighed 32,000 pounds total. 18,000 for the truck, 14,000 for the empty trailer. Standard weight for my rig. The scale operator waved me through. You're good. Have a safe trip. 50 miles later, another way station. I pulled in, rolled onto the scale. The operator came on the intercom. Driver, please pull to the inspection area. I parked in the designated spot. He came out with a clipboard. Sir, you're overweight. Scale shows 54,000 pounds. That's impossible. I'm empty. I weighed 32,000 in Jacksonville. Jacksonville was an hour ago. You're 54,000 now. Have you picked up cargo? No. I'm deadheading. The trailer's empty. Let me see your manifest. I showed him. No cargo listed, no pickup scheduled until Baltimore. He walked around my truck. Your suspension looks loaded, like you're carrying weight, but you say you're empty? Check the trailer yourself. He opened the trailer doors. We both looked inside. Empty. Bare aluminum floor, bare walls. Nothing. Huh, he said. Scale must be wrong. I'll recalibrate. He went inside, ran diagnostics. Came back. Scale's fine. Weighed the test truck, came out exact. but yours is showing 54,000. That doesn't make sense. I know, but I have to log what the scale shows. You're 22,000 over. You can't drive like this. There's nothing in my trailer, he shrugged. I'm reporting what the equipment says. You'll need to figure out where the weight is. He let me go, couldn't impound me for phantom weight, but noted the discrepancy in my file. I drove north, confused and frustrated. Maybe the Jacksonville scale had been wrong. Maybe I'd actually weighed 54,000 all along. 50 miles later, another weigh station. I pulled in, hoping for clarity. The scale showed 81,000 pounds. The operator flagged me immediately. Sir, you're critically overweight, 81,000. Legal limit is 80,000. You're over and you're unbalanced. Weight distribution is off. How is that possible? I was 54,000 an hour ago. You picked up cargo? No, I'm still empty. We went through the same routine. Opened the trailer, nothing inside. But the scale insisted, 81,000 pounds. My truck was groaning now. I could feel it, the suspension struggling, the frame flexing. Something was weighing me down. But there was nothing there. The operator was baffled, called his supervisor. They ran multiple tests, weighed me on different scales, all showed 81,000. I don't understand this, the supervisor said. But you can't drive. You're over limit, and if the weight keeps increasing, you'll damage infrastructure. Bridges, roads. They're not rated for this. What am I supposed to do? Find out what's in your trailer. Really in there. There's weight somewhere. They let me go with a warning and a citation. I pulled into a rest stop, parked and inspected every inch of the trailer, checked under the chassis, inside the wheel wells, on top of the roof. Nothing. The trailer was empty, but when I stood inside, I felt it. A pressure, like atmospheric weight, but localized. The air felt thicker, denser, like I was standing in a room. With invisible cargo, I took photos, tried to capture whatever was there. The photos showed an empty trailer, but in some of the shots there were distortions, blurs, light bending in ways it shouldn't. I continued north. 30 miles later, another weigh station. I considered skipping it, driving past when the open sign was lit. But that was illegal and would trigger pursuit. I pulled in. The scale showed 107,000 pounds. You need to pull over immediately, the operator barked over the intercom. You're critically overweight. My truck was barely moving now, the engine straining, the tires compressed almost flat. I pulled into the inspection area and shut down. The operator came out with state police backup. Sir, step out of the vehicle. We're inspecting this trailer. They opened it. We all looked inside. Empty. There's nothing here, the cop said. But the scale doesn't lie. Something's in there. One of them climbed inside, walked to the center. It feels weird in here, heavy, like pressure. I know, I said. I feel it too. They brought in detection equipment, radiation detectors, density scanners, thermal cameras. The density scanner went crazy. It showed mass in the trailer, lots of mass, but it wasn't solid. It was diffuse, spread throughout the space. It's like the air has weight, the technician said, like the empty space itself is heavy. They debated impounding my truck, but there was no violation they could cite. I wasn't carrying illegal cargo. I wasn't overloaded with anything visible. The weight was just there. Drive to the next station, the operator said. If you gain more weight, we're shutting you down. I drove, slowly. My truck could barely pull the trailer now. The weight was crushing the suspension. 10 miles later, another weigh station. I pulled in, 143,000 pounds. They didn't let me leave. Called federal DOT inspectors, called engineers, called everyone. And while they debated what to do, I went back to the trailer, stood inside, closed the doors, felt the pressure, and then I saw them. In the dim light filtering through gaps in the doors, I saw outlines, shapes, translucent forms, pallets, hundreds of pallets, stacked floor to ceiling but not solid, ghost pallets. Phantom cargo. I reached out to touch one, my hand passed through, but I felt resistance, like touching something just slightly out of phase with reality. More shapes appeared, multiple versions of the trailer overlaid. I could see through them, stacked inside each other. Each one contained cargo, different loads. One version had furniture, another had machinery, another had boxes labeled with names I didn't recognize. I was carrying cargo from multiple timelines, multiple versions of this trailer, all occupying the same space, all contributing their weight to my reality. I stumbled out of the trailer, gasping. Found the lead inspector. "There are other trailers inside my trailer," I said. "What?" "Multiple versions, stacked, overlapping. I can see them. They're carrying weight, real weight, from other timelines." He looked at me like I was insane, but he went inside with a camera, filmed for 5 minutes, came out pale. "I saw them too," he said quietly. "On the camera, outlines, like images overlaid. Multiple trailers. How is this possible?" "I don't know, but we need specialists. This is beyond DOT jurisdiction." They called people, scientists, people in black SUVs with no agency markings. They set up equipment around my trailer, ran tests, took measurements. A woman in a suit approached me. "Mr. Wright, your trailer has become a convergence point. Multiple probability timelines are intersecting here. We don't know why. But versions of your trailer from parallel realities are occupying the same physical space as your trailer. Their mass is additive. As more timelines converge, the weight increases. How do I stop it?" "We don't know. This is unprecedented. The convergence might resolve on its own, or it might continue until the weight becomes infinite." "Infinite?" "If all possible versions of this trailer converge, the combined mass would create a gravitational anomaly. A localized black hole, essentially." "That's insane." "That's quantum mechanics. Probability has weight. When multiple probable states coexist, their mass adds up." They tried interventions, quantum field generators, probability stabilizers. Nothing worked. The weight kept increasing. 160,000 pounds, 190,000, 215,000. My trailer was sinking into the pavement, the asphalt cracking under the impossible weight, and I could see more timelines now. Dozens, hundreds, versions of me, versions of this trip. In some I was carrying furniture, in others electronics, in others hazardous materials, all of them real, all of them here. All of them adding their weight to my reality. "You need to drive," the woman said. "If you stay stationary, the convergence stabilizes and gets worse. Movement disrupts it. Drive, keep moving, the timelines will separate." "My truck can't pull this weight." "It has to, or the convergence will anchor permanently." I got back in my truck, started the engine, tried to move. The wheels spun. The truck inched forward, painfully slow but moving. I drove. 1 mile per hour, 2 miles per hour, the trailer gouging ruts in the asphalt behind me, the weight fluctuating, dropping, spiking, dropping again. 10 miles later, the weight was 100,000 pounds. 50 miles later, 70,000. 100 miles later, 40,000. By the time I reached Baltimore, my trailer weighed 34,000 pounds, just 2,000 over its empty weight, close enough to normal. The phantom timelines had separated. The convergence had ended. I delivered the trailer to the company yard. They inspected it. Found stress fractures, frame damage, axle deformation. The trailer was totaled, written off. "What happened?" my dispatcher asked. "Weight," I said. "Too much weight." "You were empty." "I know." They blamed me for the damage, suspended me pending investigation. But they couldn't explain the damage. Couldn't explain how an empty trailer sustained stress equivalent to carrying 4 times its rated capacity. I don't drive anymore. The suspension ended my career. But I still think about those phantom timelines, those stacked realities. All those versions of me driving the same route, carrying the same loads, existing simultaneously in slightly different ways. And I wonder, how many of them are still driving? How many versions of Isaiah Wright are on I-95 right now, hauling loads, passing through weigh stations, unaware that their trailer weighs more than it should? How many of them will converge next? And when they do, will the weight become infinite? Will I-95 collapse under the mass of all possible trucking routes occurring at once? I don't know. But somewhere a driver is pulling into a weigh station, seeing a weight that doesn't match their manifest, feeling pressure in an empty trailer. And they're just starting to understand that the road carries more than what you load. It carries what might have been loaded, and what will be loaded, and what was loaded in worlds that split off from this one. All of it real, all of it heavy, all of it weighing you down. Story 7. The Dispatcher. The voice on my dispatch radio has been giving me delivery instructions for 3 days, but when I called the home office, they said dispatch hasn't contacted me since Monday. The voice knows my name, knows my roots, knows details about my life that aren't in any company file. And this morning, the voice told me to make a delivery to an address that doesn't exist, coordinates in the middle of a lake. And when I refused, it said that was okay. I'd refused the last 6 times too, but eventually I'd accept, and when I did, I'd understand why I'd been driving trucks for the past 19 years. It said everything had been preparation for this one delivery. My name is Lucas Brennan, 42 years old, 19 years in trucking. I worked for Midwest Freight Solutions, running regional routes through Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin. Reliable company, professional operation. I'd been with them for 11 years. Never had issues with dispatch. Until May 3rd, 2024. That morning, I was in my truck preparing to leave the distribution center in Chicago when the dispatch radio crackled. Lucas, this is dispatch. We've got a hot load for you. Needs to go out immediately. Standard communication. I keyed the mic. Copy, dispatch. What's the destination? Coordinates 42.6851 north, 87.8267 west. Customer name redacted. Contents personal, time sensitive, payment on delivery. I plugged the coordinates into my GPS. It showed a location in Lake Michigan, 20 miles offshore. Dispatch, those coordinates are in the middle of the lake. Is this a boat delivery? Negative. Standard truck delivery. Follow the route provided. There's no route to the middle of a lake. The route will become clear. Depart immediately. The voice sounded wrong, flat, too precise, but it was coming through the official dispatch channel. Copy that. I'll head out, but I'm going to need clarification once I get closer. Understood. Safe travels, Lucas. I left the distribution center. Called the home office on my cell phone while driving. Hey, this is Lucas, truck 447. I just got dispatch instructions for a delivery to coordinates in Lake Michigan. Can someone verify this? The dispatcher, actual human dispatcher, sounded confused. Lucas, we haven't sent you anything today. You're scheduled for the Rockford run leaving at 10 a.m. I got a call on the radio. 10 minutes ago, voice said it was dispatch, gave me coordinates for a hot load. Not from us. Our system shows no communications to you since Monday. Then who was on the radio? I don't know. Could be cross-channel interference. Someone transmitting on our frequency. Ignore it. Head to Rockford as planned. I turned around, went back to the distribution center, picked up the Rockford load. Standard delivery, nothing unusual. But an hour into the drive, the radio crackled again. Lucas, you ignored the delivery. That's okay. You're not ready yet, but you will be. Who is this? I demanded. Dispatch. You're not dispatch. I checked with the office. I'm the dispatch that matters, the one you'll listen to eventually. You've refused 6 times now. This is attempt 7. Attempts 8 through 12 will also fail. But on attempt 13, you'll accept. You'll make the delivery and you'll understand. Understand what? Why you've been driving. Why you chose this profession. Why everything in your life has led to this moment. The delivery is your purpose, Lucas. Everything else has been preparation. This is bullshit. I'm blocking this channel. You can't block me. I'm not transmitting through the radio. I'm transmitting through you. You've been receiving me for 19 years, since the first day you got your CDL. I've been with you on every route, every mile. You just didn't notice until now. I turned off the radio, pulled the power cable. The voice stopped. I completed the Rockford delivery, drove back to Chicago, told my supervisor about the strange transmissions. He had the radio checked. Technicians found nothing wrong. No unauthorized frequencies, no interference. Maybe you're tired, he suggested. Take a day off. I took 2 days, stayed home, didn't drive, didn't think about trucks. On the 3rd day, my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Lucas, this is dispatch. You're rested now, ready to try again? The same voice, coming through my phone. How are you calling me? I'm not calling, you're hearing me. There's a difference. I exist in the space between communication and reception. The gap where messages travel. You've been listening to me your whole career. Instructions that seemed to come from dispatch, from GPS, from road signs. All of it was me, guiding you, training you, preparing you. For what? The delivery. The only delivery that matters, the cargo you've been practicing for. 19 years of routes, 19 years of loads, all leading to this. You're almost ready. I'm not making a delivery to the middle of a lake. Not yet, but you will. Attempt 8 is scheduled for next week. You'll refuse again. And that's fine. Each refusal strengthens your resolve until the moment you accept. Free will is a process, Lucas. You have to choose freely. That's the only way the delivery works. What's in the cargo? You. The call ended. I went to a psychiatrist. Described the voices, the transmissions, the calls. He prescribed antipsychotics. I took them. The voices stopped for 3 days. Then they resumed. Same voice, same message, coming through radio, phone, even my GPS. The GPS would give normal directions, then suddenly, turn left in 13 miles to accept your destiny. I quit Midwest Freight Solutions, changed professions, got a job in a warehouse, no driving, no trucks, no radios. The voice found me anyway. Through the PA system in the warehouse, through the computer speakers at my desk, through the static in electrical outlets. You can't escape the delivery, Lucas. You're the carrier. You've always been the carrier. The truck is just the vehicle. You're the cargo and the driver, both simultaneous. When you understand that, you'll make the delivery. I moved across the country, Colorado, far from the lakes, far from my old roots. Got a job in construction, no dispatch systems, no radios. The voice came through power tools, through the sound of wind, through the hum of electrical wires. Attempt 12 approaching, you're getting closer, the refusals are weakening, soon you'll ask the right question and then you'll accept. I stopped fighting it, started listening. What's the right question? You'll know when you ask it. Months passed. The voice became constant, background noise in my life, always there, always waiting. December 14th, 2024. I was in Denver. Haven't driven a truck in 7 months. The voice came through my car radio. Lucas, attempt 13. This is the one. You're ready now. You've processed the fear. You've accepted the strangeness. Now you're ready to ask. And I realized I was ready. The question formed naturally. What happens after the delivery? You'll see. That's the point of delivery, to see what's on the other side. Am I going to die? No. You're going to deliver. Death is a destination. Delivery is a transition. You're moving something from here to there. The cargo is important. The cargo is you, but not this you. The you that's been driving for 19 years. The you that needs to arrive at the coordinates. Why Lake Michigan? Because that's where you started 19 years ago, your first route. Chicago to Milwaukee. You drove past those coordinates, 42.6851 north, 87.8267 west. You looked out at the lake and thought, what's out there? This delivery answers that question. I remembered. My first solo route. Brand new CDL, spring 2005. I'd driven along the lake shore, looked out at the water, felt something, a pull, a curiosity. What's out there? Do I need a truck? I asked. Yes, the vehicle matters. The act of driving matters. It's ritual, it's process. You have to approach the coordinates in the correct way. How do I drive on water? You don't. The lake will accommodate. When you arrive at the shore, when you point your truck toward the coordinates, the path will appear. It's always been there. You just needed to be ready to see it. I rented a truck, not a semi, just a box truck, 16-footer. Drove to Chicago. Arrived at the lake shore on December 20th. Winter, ice forming on the water. I parked at the edge facing the lake, plugged in the coordinates, 42.6851 north, 87.8267 west, 20 miles out. The GPS calculated a route, turn-by-turn directions over water. I started driving. The truck moved onto the lake, not onto ice, onto something else. A surface that appeared under my wheels. Solid but not ice, not water, something between. I drove. The path extended ahead of me, appearing as I approached, disappearing behind me as I passed. The lake was calm, flat. The truck's headlights illuminated nothing but dark water and the path. 20 miles, 30 minutes. The GPS counted down distance. I arrived at the coordinates. Middle of Lake Michigan, nothing visible, just water in all directions. The voice. Stop here, exit the vehicle. I stopped, got out. Stood on the impossible path, the truck behind me, the lake around me, the sky above. Now what? Now you deliver. You've been carrying this your whole career. The question you asked 19 years ago, what's out there? The answer is here, look down. I looked down. The path beneath me was transparent now, I could see through it. Below in the water, structures, buildings, an entire city submerged, lit from within, streets, vehicles, people, a world beneath the lake. This is the destination, the voice said. The place where all deliveries arrive, the warehouse of questions. Every driver who asks, what's out there, ends up here. Eventually, when they're ready, when they've driven enough miles to earn the answer. Is this real? It's as real as the path you drove on, as real as the voice you've been hearing. Real is a spectrum, Lucas. You're standing on a point of that spectrum where possibilities manifest. What do I do now? You choose. Return to the shore, resume your life, forget this place. Or step off the path, descend, see what's below, join the other drivers who asked the same question and came here for the answer. I looked back. The truck. The shore in the distance, my life, normal, mundane, real. I looked down, the city, the answer, the place I'd been driving toward for 19 years without knowing it. If I go down, can I come back? Some do, some don't. It depends on what you find. I stepped off the path. I'm writing this from below, from the city beneath Lake Michigan. It's vast, populated with drivers, all of us who asked the question. We deliver here now. Cargo that comes from the surface goes to destinations in the deep, routes through impossible geography. The voice is clearer here. It's not in my head. It's a person, the dispatcher, the real one, the one who calls all of us eventually, guides us here. To the place where deliveries mean something different. I don't know if I'll return to the surface. I don't know if I want to. The routes here are strange, the cargo stranger, but it makes sense in a way the surface never did. Maybe you'll get the call. Maybe your dispatch will start giving you coordinates that don't make sense. Maybe you'll hear a voice that knows too much. When you do, don't fight it. Each refusal just delays the inevitable. Eventually you'll accept. You'll make the delivery and you'll find out what's out there. It's worth the drive. Trust me. Story 8. The Reflections. My truck appeared in my mirrors 3 days ago, not behind me, but ahead of me. Driving in reverse while I drove forward, and every time I changed lanes or adjusted speed, it mirrored me perfectly. When I finally stopped to confront it, walked around my truck to see it from the outside, I discovered I could see myself in the cab, still driving, still moving, while I stood on the pavement watching. I've been outside my truck for 47 hours now. The me inside keeps driving, and I can't figure out how to get back in. My name is Diane Foster, 48 years old, 16 years driving trucks. I ran Pacific Northwest routes, Seattle to Sacramento and back. I specialized in refrigerated goods, produce mostly. Time-sensitive, careful handling required. March 11th, 2024, I was southbound on I-5 through Oregon Standard Run. The mirrors started acting strange near Eugene. I noticed my truck in the rear view. Same model Freightliner, same refrigerated trailer, same company livery. Not unusual. I often saw other company trucks. But this one was ahead of me, somehow visible in my rearview mirror despite being in front. I checked my side mirrors. Same thing. My truck visible in the distance, ahead of me, but reflected as if behind. I blinked, shook my head. Probably fatigue. I'd been driving 8 hours straight. I refocused on the road, but the reflection persisted, and it was moving exactly as I moved. When I changed lanes, it changed lanes. When I accelerated, it accelerated. Perfect synchronization. I slowed down, pulled onto the shoulder, stopped. The reflection stopped too. I could see it clearly in my mirror. My Freightliner on the shoulder stopped, but ahead of me, not behind. I got out of my truck, walked around to the front, looked up the highway. No truck. The road ahead was empty. But in my mirrors, there it was. My truck reflected impossibly. I waved. In the mirror, I saw movement in the cab of the reflection. Someone waving back. I climbed back in my cab, looked in the mirror. The reflection showed me climbing into the cab. We were synchronized. I started driving. The reflection drove. We moved together, perfectly mirrored. For the next 100 miles, I tried to make sense of it. Some optical illusion, some trick of light and glass. But the reflection was too consistent, too detailed. I could see the driver, me, clearly. Every movement matched. When I scratched my nose, the reflection scratched its nose. When I took a drink of water, the reflection took a drink. At a rest stop, I inspected the mirrors. Nothing wrong with them. Clean, uncracked, properly aligned. But the reflection remained. My truck, ahead of me, visible in mirrors that should show what's behind. Day 2, the reflection started diverging. Small things at first. In the mirror, the me driving took a different route, exited at Medford while I continued to Grants Pass. But the reflection remained visible despite being on different roads. That shouldn't be possible. Mirrors show what's in front of them. If I'm on one highway and the reflection is on another, the mirror shouldn't show it. But it did. The divergence increased. In the mirror, I could see the reflection making stops I didn't make, taking deliveries I wasn't scheduled for, driving at night while I slept. It was living a different route, a parallel version of my trip, similar but different. Day 3. I reached Sacramento, delivered my load, prepared to deadhead back to Seattle. In the mirror, the reflection was already in Seattle, ahead of me by a full day, and it was loading new cargo, preparing for another run. I called my dispatcher. "Hey, this is Diane. Do you have me scheduled for another load out of Seattle? No, Diane, you're dead heading back. No pickup until Wednesday. Okay, thanks. But in the mirror, the reflection was loaded, departing Seattle, heading south. Our routes were about to intersect. I started driving north, watching the mirror. The reflection was driving south. We were approaching each other. What happens when a reflection meets its source? I found out near Reading. The reflection appeared ahead of me. Not in the mirror, actually ahead on the highway. My truck driving toward me, same freightliner, same trailer, same everything. We were on a collision course. I slowed down. The reflection slowed down. I stopped. The reflection stopped. We were 50 feet apart. My truck and its reflection, both real, both physical, both occupying space on I-5. I got out, walked toward it. The driver's door opened. Someone got out, walked toward me. It was me. Diane Foster. Identical. Same clothes, same face, same everything. We stopped 3 feet apart. You're the reflection, I said. No, she said, you're the reflection. I'm real. I've been driving for 3 days. You've been in the mirrors. I've been driving for 3 days. You've been in my mirrors. We stared at each other. Both convinced we were the original. Both convinced the other was the reflection. How do we tell? I asked. We can't. We're identical. Same memories, same experiences, same reality. We diverged at some point, but we're both real now. Both physical. What caused this? I don't know. Maybe we drove through something. Some anomaly that split probability. Created 2 versions of the same trip. 2 Dianes, 2 trucks, 2 routes overlapping. What do? I don't know. We can't both keep driving. We're the same person. Same identity. If we both return to Seattle, there will be 2 of us. That's not sustainable. So one of us has to, what, disappear? She looked at me. I looked at her. Neither of us wanted to be the one to disappear. Maybe we can coexist, she said. Different routes, different regions. You take the Pacific Northwest, I'll take California. We split the work. That might work. But what if we encounter each other again? What if the routes overlap? We'll deal with it then. We agreed. She got back in her truck, drove south. I got back in mine, drove north. But here's the problem. I can't get back in my truck. I mean, I can open the door, I can sit in the seat. But when I do, I see myself already there. Already driving, the me that never got out, the me that stayed in the cab while I walked outside to confront the reflection. There are 2 versions now. The me that got out and the me that stayed in. The me that stayed in is driving, following my route, making my deliveries, living my life. And I'm out here, standing on the shoulder of I-5, watching myself drive away. I tried to get back in, tried to merge with the me that stayed, but when I sit in the seat, we don't merge, we coexist. 2 Dianes in one cab, one driving, one sitting passenger. And it feels wrong, unstable, like reality can't handle both of us in the same space. So I got out, and the me that's driving kept driving. I've been following my truck for 2 days now. Hitchhiking, taking buses, tracking myself via GPS. Watching myself drive, deliver, rest, eat, living my life without me. At night I can see her, me, sleeping in the cab. She doesn't know I'm out here, doesn't remember getting out to confront the reflection. Her timeline continued uninterrupted. She's the main Diane now, and I'm the reflection. The split-off version, the one that got out and can't get back in. I don't know what to do. I don't have ID that's separate from her, don't have a bank account that isn't hers, don't have a life that isn't hers. I'm a ghost of myself, separated by a moment of divergence. The moment I got out of the truck to confront the reflection. Maybe I should have stayed in. Maybe the me that stayed made the right choice, ignored the impossibility, kept driving, let the reflection remain a mystery. But I got out. And now I'm here, outside, watching myself live. She's in Seattle now, picking up a new load, preparing for another run. She'll drive south again. I'll follow. I always follow. Maybe eventually she'll notice me, recognize me, realize I'm out here. Or maybe she'll just keep driving. And I'll keep following. A reflection that became real. A driver who stepped outside herself and can't find the way back in. If you see two trucks, identical. Same company, same driver, same everything. Don't assume it's a coincidence. One of them might be the reflection, and the driver might be split between them, trying to figure out which one is real, which one deserves to keep driving, which one should disappear. I don't have the answer. I'm still following, still trying to get back in, still watching myself drive away. Story 9. The Last Mile. My GPS says I'm 1 mile from the delivery destination, and it's been saying that for 8 hours. The mile marker on the highway hasn't changed. The scenery repeats every 17 minutes. I've passed the same barn 43 times. My fuel gauge is stuck at 1/4 tank. And the delivery address keeps updating on my manifest. The customer name changes, the street address shifts, the coordinates alter slightly. But the GPS still says 1 mile. I'm trapped in the last mile of delivery, unable to reach the destination, unable to turn back, driving forever toward an arrival that never comes. My name is Colin Matthews, 51 years old, 24 years driving long haul. I worked for Interstate Express, running time-sensitive deliveries across the country. February 8, 2024, I picked up a package in Boston, single-item, destination San Francisco. High-value medical equipment. Deadline delivery, February 12th, 10 a.m. The run was smooth. Boston to Chicago, Chicago to Denver, Denver to Salt Lake, Salt Lake to Reno, standard route, no issues. I arrived in the San Francisco area on February 11th, 9:45 p.m. Plenty of time to rest and make the morning delivery. The delivery address was in the financial district. GPS calculated arrival 9:30 a.m. 45-minute drive from my overnight stop in Oakland. I left at 8:45 a.m. Traffic was manageable. I followed the GPS directions. Highway, then surface streets, then downtown. At 9:29 a.m., the GPS said, 1 mile to destination. I was on Market Street heading toward the delivery. Should arrive in 3 minutes. Perfect timing. But the next street sign I passed was the same one I'd just passed. I was looping, or the streets were looping. I checked the GPS. Still said 1 mile to destination. I drove for another 5 minutes. The GPS didn't update. Still 1 mile. I pulled over, checked the address on my manifest, correct address. Checked the GPS destination, matched. I resumed driving, followed the turn-by-turn directions exactly. 10 minutes later. 1 mile to destination. I'd driven 10 minutes. Should have traveled several miles, but the GPS insisted I was still 1 mile away. The scenery started looking familiar. A coffee shop, a mural on a building, a red barn visible on a hillside. Strange for downtown SF, but there it was. I passed the coffee shop again, then the mural, then the barn. I was looping, not turning around, not retracing my route, just looping. The city was repeating. I stopped at a gas station, asked the attendant, "How far to the financial district?" "You're in the financial district," he said. "How far to this address?" I showed him the manifest. He looked. 2 blocks. Just go straight on Market, turn left on Montgomery. I followed his directions. 2 blocks left on Montgomery. The GPS said, 1 mile to destination. I'd driven 2 blocks. The GPS should have updated. Should have said arriving at destination, but it didn't. I kept driving, straight, left, right, following the GPS instructions. Every few minutes. 1 mile to destination. The scenery repeated. Coffee shop, mural, barn, coffee shop, mural, barn. I was stuck in a loop. The last mile of delivery repeating infinitely. I called my dispatcher. Hey, I'm having GPS issues. I'm 1 mile from the delivery, but I can't seem to get there. What's the problem? The distance isn't decreasing. I've been driving for 30 minutes. GPS still says 1 mile. Recalculate the route. I did. Same result. 1 mile to destination. Try a different GPS. I used my phone GPS, Google Maps. Same coordinates. Same result. 1 mile to destination. I don't know what to tell you, Colin. You're in San Francisco, right? Just navigate manually. Find the address. I tried. I drove toward the street on my manifest, Montgomery Street, but I couldn't reach it. Every time I got close, the streets rearranged. I'd be on Market, turn onto Montgomery, and find myself back on Market. The city was looping, preventing me from reaching the destination. Hours passed. I kept driving, kept trying. The GPS never updated. At 1:47 p.m., my fuel gauge read 1/4 tank. I'd been driving for hours using fuel. The gauge should be lower, but it was stuck at 1/4. At 5:03 p.m., I passed the coffee shop for the 17th time. I stopped, went inside, ordered coffee. How long have you been here? I asked the barista. I started at 6 a.m. Why? I've passed this building 17 times today. She looked at me strangely. That's impossible. We're on a corner. You'd have to circle the block 17 times. I did. Why? Because I can't reach my destination, she shrugged. GPS problems? Something like that. I left, resumed driving. The GPS still said 1 mile. Night fell. I kept driving. The loop continued. Coffee shop, mural, barn, the same sequence. Every 17 minutes. I started timing it. Exactly 17 minutes per loop. Not 16, not 18. 17. Precise. I tried breaking the loop. Turned different directions, ignored the GPS, drove randomly. But every route led back to Market Street. Every path returned me to the same sequence. At 11:34 p.m., I pulled over, tried to sleep, couldn't. The loop was in my head now. Even with my eyes closed, I could see it. Coffee shop, mural, barn. Day 2, February 12th. The delivery deadline had passed. I was officially late, but I was still 1 mile away. I called my dispatcher again. I'm still stuck. Where are you? San Francisco, 1 mile from the delivery. Colin, the customer called. You're late. What's going on? I can't reach the destination. The city is looping. That doesn't make sense. I know, but it's happening. I've been driving for 24 hours. I'm 1 mile away. I can't get closer. I'm sending another driver. You're off the delivery. No, wait. He hung up. I didn't leave. I kept driving. I had to complete the delivery. Had to reach the destination. It was my job. My responsibility. Day 3. I'd been in the loop for 48 hours. The coffee shop, the mural, the barn. 43 iterations. My fuel gauge still read 1/4 tank. My food supplies were running low, but I wasn't hungry. My water bottles should have been empty, but they stayed half full. The loop was sustaining me, keeping me in stasis, 1 mile from destination forever. I tried calling people, my wife, my kids, my dispatcher. No one answered. The calls connected, rang, but no one picked up. I tried driving backward, put the truck in reverse, drove away from the destination. The GPS said 1 mile to destination. I was driving in reverse, but the distance didn't increase. I was still 1 mile away. I stopped, got out of the truck, walked, left the vehicle behind, walked toward the delivery address. I walked for an hour. Should have covered several miles, but when I looked back, my truck was still visible, same distance away. I was walking in place, or the city was moving with me. Either way, I wasn't making progress. I returned to the truck, sat in the cab, watched the scenery repeat. Coffee shop, mural, barn, coffee shop, mural, barn. Day 7. I'd stopped counting loops, stopped caring about the delivery, stopped hoping for escape. I was part of the loop now, integrated into it, a permanent fixture of the last mile. Other vehicles appeared occasionally, cars, trucks, pedestrians. They moved normally, passed me, disappeared. They weren't stuck. Only I was stuck. I tried flagging them down, asking for help. They couldn't hear me. Or they could hear me but didn't care. One driver stopped. "You lost? I'm stuck. I've been driving for 7 days. I can't reach my destination." He looked at me like I was insane. "Destination's right there," he pointed. 2 blocks. "I've driven 2 blocks 1,000 times. I can't get there." Maybe you don't want to get there. Maybe you're avoiding it. Why would I avoid it? I don't know. But people don't get stuck unless they're stuck on purpose. Figure out why you're avoiding the delivery, then you'll be able to make it. He drove away. Left me thinking, why would I avoid the delivery? I checked the manifest again. Customer name, Colin Matthews. My name. I was delivering to myself. The package, high-value medical equipment. Contents, terminal diagnosis. I was delivering my own death sentence. A diagnosis, results from Boston being shipped to me in San Francisco. I'd been avoiding it, subconsciously. Driving forever, staying 1 mile away, refusing to arrive and face what was in the package. I looked at the GPS. 1 mile to destination. 1 mile to knowing. 1 mile to certainty. 1 mile to the end. I could stay here, loop forever, never arrive, never open the package, never face it. Or I could drive that last mile, accept the delivery, open the package, no. I put the truck in drive, followed the GPS, coffee shop, mural, barn. But this time I kept going, didn't resist, didn't avoid. The GPS updated, 0.5 miles to destination. Progress, finally, I kept driving. 0.3 miles, then 0.1 miles, arriving at destination. I pulled up to the address, my address, a medical office. The package was for me, results from a biopsy, terminal. 6 months. I sat in the truck holding the package. The loop had been my denial, my refusal to accept. The city had accommodated that, given me an infinite last mile. Time to avoid the inevitable, but you can't drive forever. Eventually you have to arrive. I opened the package, read the results. 6 months. The loop ended. The city stopped repeating. I was back in normal San Francisco, traffic moving, time progressing. I'd escaped the last mile by finally completing it. By accepting the delivery, I don't know how much time I have, 6 months, maybe less. Maybe the loop took some of that time. Maybe I spent weeks inside that last mile. But I'm here now. Arrived, delivered. The GPS is off, the destination reached. And I'm ready for whatever comes next. Because the last mile is over, and there's nothing left to avoid.